Hey guys, welcome to my devotion channel. This is the second one I'm going to do today, and um same way. And if y'all enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I will be posting these every Wednesday. We'll probably do two a day. That way I'll be able to um share my thoughts with y'all, and y'all share y'all's thoughts with me. Also, if y'all will, y'all can go follow Shy Moore's Music YouTube channel, and anywhere I have upcoming songs coming out, and I would love for y'all to hear them. And I appreciate everything y'all do, from liking, subscribing. I appreciate all of y'all for that. And with that being said, we're going to start. The title of this, Don't Do This Alone. And we're going to start in Romans chapter 12, verses 3 through 15. Now we're going to, and I'll read this and then read the story behind it. Hang on one second. Give me just a second here. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So, in short, it's Romans 12:10 says, "Be devoted to one another in love." And again, I might not pronounce all these, but that's fine too. But I'll read the verse. Like I said, it's Romans chapter 12, 3 through 15. "For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we, being many, are one body in Christ, and every one members one of another. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the portion of faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth, with diligence. He that sheweth mercy, with cheerfulness. I'm sorry. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionated one to another, with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of saints, giving to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Okay? Now, it says, do not, or don't do this alone. As I open the bookshelf assembly instructions with piles of boards and tools strewn on the floor before me. I viewed a set of instructions, diagrams of what to do and what not to do. One diagram with a large X on top depicted a person staring at a pile of boards and tools with bemused frown not unlike mine. Just a few minutes prior, on the right hand was drawn the correct way to assemble, only difference. A second person was there. Both figures now had smiles on their faces as they worked together. So I got my husband the instructions, say, I need your help. I said, showing him the drawing. He laughed and we assembled it together. I could have stubbornly tried to find a way to put it together on my own. But the manual was right. The process wasn't meant to be done alone. In Romans 12, Paul urges new believers not to try to do life in Jesus alone. Instead of seeing themselves as self-sufficient and thinking of themselves more highly than they ought to, verse 3, they needed to see themselves as part of an interdependent body where every member needs each other's help, verses 4 through 8. As Jesus helps us learn how to be devoted to one another in love, verse 10, we can experience life in harmony with each other where one another's needs, griefs, and joys, verse 3 and 15, are never carried alone. All right. Now for the questions. Why do you think we're tempted to do life alone? Now, speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for y'all. Like I said before, y'all can comment below or think to yourself. But you can always comment below. It's a judgment-free zone here. I didn't say that in the first videos, but judgment-free. Feel free. You can do it anonymously. Just feel free to comment below. But for me personally, I am strongly independent because growing up, I used to A, get made fun of, B, get bullied into stuff that I shouldn't have even been bullied about. Also, people taught me that it was better to be on your own. Do it by yourself. You get what I used to say at work, and I'm very bad still saying to this day, is if you can't get it done right, do it yourself. And I've always had that mindset because I felt as if, people just make you feel like, okay, well, they want to complain about helping you, or they're complaining about you even asking for help. And personally, I'm learning now with my fiance, and not even just my fiance, but my brother-in-law as well, that it's okay to ask for help. If you need help, it doesn't matter if it's you need to vent to somebody or you need to talk to somebody. It's okay to ask for help. If you feel like you can't deal with it on your own, feel free to ask, somebody that you love, that you're really extremely close to, hey, look, I need your help. And for this question, it hits me personally because that's how society makes you feel now, is you're a burden. Reality saying you're not a burden, you're human and you need help. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. If you need to talk, speak, because nobody is better than nobody else. I don't care what mindset they got. They can think they're way up here and you're way down here. They could think that all day, but in reality, me and you are just the same. And that's what this is telling us. that person is no better than you are. They may not have the same um ideas, and that's fine. But in reality, everybody is the same. That's why they say you're brothers and sisters in Christ, because you are. You're no better than I am in God's eyes. You're no better than your spouse is, your brother is, your sister is. You're just, you're all the same person. And for this, speaking on this, it's good to have somebody to talk to. My brother-in-law, he's teaching me. My fiance's teaching me, saying, okay, it's okay to talk about it. Don't hold it in. Because me personally, I suffer from depression, like I stated before. And I'll always bring that up. Yes, I suffer from depression. Yes, I suffer from mental health. But that doesn't make me any less than you are. I feel stuff a lot more. I feel people's words a lot more. And I always try to find a way to help others. And I want to get better at doing that. I want to get better at um talking about my feelings, or if I need help. My fiance, God bless him, he puts up with a lot with me. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. But he always tells me, I can help you. Let me be able to help you. And when he goes to help, I get so mad, and I have to work on this myself. This is a me problem, because all my life I've had to do it myself. And having to retrain your mind, saying, okay, they're not crossing a boundary, um they're not doing anything wrong here, but let them help. But I get so mad, because there's a certain way in my mind, and instead of sitting there talking to him like a normal person would, honestly, but instead of talking to him and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, this is what I have in mind, do you mind helping me? And he doesn't. He does not mind. He does everything in the world for me. And I'm still here. Like, I get mad over it, and I shouldn't. I want to work on that as myself. I want to work on myself on so many little pet peeves I have. And I feel like, okay, well, he helps you with your puppy, which is, I'll show y'all Princess. Hang on one second. Come here, run. Like, okay, she just woke up. But, bless it. But he helps me with her, I let him help with her and Brooklyn and, my lizard over here, Tinkerbell. But I have a bearded dragon. I have 2 dogs. And he has a horse that I claim. But, I let him help with stuff like that. And even, like, I don't even have to ask him, you know, um, can, like, while I'm asleep, when he gets up and gets ready for work, you know, he gets up, um, he feeds Princess, he feeds Brooklyn, he don't feed Tinkerbell, I do that. But, he'll switch her lights around, and, he'll go feed Rowdy. And even if he doesn't feed Rowdy that day, or he doesn't have time to switch Tinkerbell's lights, like I have to, or he doesn't have time to feed them, he'll let me know, hey, look, um, can you think you can handle that? And, of course. And things like that, makes a big difference. Communicating with people, if instead of doing it alone. Like with him, like I have a busy schedule. I do work, write songs, I record songs, I do schoolwork. I'm starting to do this devotion. And even though I'm busy with that, I pretty much thought about it today while I was washing dishes. I set a schedule last weekend to be exact, Saturday actually. You know, Mondays through Fridays, I do my schoolwork, my assignments, which I usually get done by Monday, no later than Tuesday. All right, the rest of the week, Monday through Friday, work on my music. But I usually set aside certain days to do certain things. Like Mondays, school only. Don't worry about my albums coming out. Don't worry about my singles coming out. That's for another day. Now, this week was a little bit more difficult because um I was having problems with some of my schoolwork. So I finished most of it Monday and I said, okay, I need to set aside, just set it aside, leave it alone, don't touch it, start back the next day. So yesterday, everything came out smoothly. And, on weekends, I just basically rest, recharge, I clean up, whatever I need to clean up, sort through stuff because I'm planning on having a yard sale this spring. But my fiance tries to help me with that. And this is the same way. You ask people for help. You talk to people. If something's going on, feel free to talk to somebody that you're close to about it. Don't feel ashamed and don't make yourself feel like you got to walk alone. Because Jesus is walking with you every day. Feel free to, ask him, hey, look, I need your help. I I need you to show me, tell me, anything to help me. And I promise he will. I'm a firm believer of that because after that Lace Vape situation, the person I was staying with was like, well, since you're not getting any better, you need to find you somewhere else to go. Knowing I didn't know what exactly happened, I just knew parts. And I lived in my car for months. I stayed in a motel room where they ended up stealing my stuff because the lady had lied to me and stole majority of my things. And my laptop I used for school, that was gone. A blanket that my best friend's mother gave me that had pictures of Lexi and my mama, my daddy, all them, that was missing. And just a whole list of clothes is missing, X amount of clothes. And I mean, the list goes on. And I'm still so angry about that. But, in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, God, show me a way to forgive them because if I don't, I can't, afford jail charges. And I mean, that may sound funny, but this is the type of world we live in now. Violence ain't the answer. Hence why I ain't done it yet because it's not going to solve nothing. Get your blood pressure up, maybe, but I mean, I tell my fiance, I wish I could do something, but it ain't gonna do no good. And I just pray to the good Lord, like, you know what? Out of all the stuff you've lost, you know, look at everything you've gained. I remember in December of when I flatlined, a man walked up to me. I didn't realize who he was. But when I'd flatlined, I think it was the third time I'd flatlined, he put his hand on my right shoulder, and he said, "It's not your time to be here." I said, "I understand that." But if I don't have to go, please don't make me go. He said, Shy, let me tell you something. He said, you think people down there, talking about here on earth, don't notice how hard you're trying. Don't notice how much you have put into everything you've done. He said, but they've noticed. They might not talk about it, but they've noticed. And he said, I know you don't hear it very often, but I'm proud of you. And he said, if that means anything, I said, coming from you, that means a lot. Remind y'all, I didn't realize who I was talking to. And I knew he was, somebody that meant something. And he had I call it a shawl. I'm not sure the proper name for it, but he had it over his head, so all you saw was his face. And I said, coming from you, that meant a lot. He said, your situation's about to change. Now, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I said, okay, well, I'll give life one more chance. So I came back. And I went through every trial and tribulation known to man in a few months. And it was hard on me. I didn't ever show it as much, but I was determined, okay? I had goals set when my mother passed away in July 15th, 2023. I was going to get a job. I was going to get a car. I was going to get my own place because I had to sell my home to pay for her funeral. All right. I said, well, I'm fixing to set it aside. I'm fixing to do it. I'd been back and forth out of college since my daddy passed away and my mama passed away and my boyfriend at the time passed away. And it's hard to do stuff by yourself. Take it from me, I know. I was living in my car. I was living in his motel. I didn't see no changes. I just knew something was fixing to happen. So, March comes around. March 3rd to be exact. And my fiance now, he kept asking people, him and his brother both, they loved me to death. I met them over here when I was working at Piggly Wiggly in New Hope as assistant manager. I met him there. And I loved his brother to death. Remind you, I didn't know one from the other. I didn't realize they were brothers, honestly. But him and his brother kept asking, where's Shy? Why is Shy not here? And that was when I was out for a week because of it. Nobody knew exactly what happened. They just knew something happened. Well, they knew something wasn't right because I always walked up to them and, I always hugged them. If you know me personally, I will hug you. I mean, well, most of the time. But usually I'm known for hugging people. Like, especially if I know you. But they just kept asking. And it hurt me because I was like, I didn't know this. But March 3rd, he had called me up and it was raining. I was in my car. I was upset. I was depressed. Um, I just wanted to give up again. Like, I said, forget it. But somebody at work had told him I was living in my car and she had texted me, which is one of the assistant managers at the store as well, had texted me and she said, hey, Johnny wants your number. Okay, give it to him. Well, she gave me his number. Well, I ended up calling him or texting him or something. And he said, hey, do you want to come stay with me? And I'm like, I'm good. But it was fixed. They were calling for like tornadoes and stuff that night. So I said, instead of staying at my boyfriend's house who had passed away, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come over here. Little did I know my life was fixing to change dramatically because I was still sick. I still couldn't remember nothing like I should have, but I was working. I was pushing myself. I was pushing myself too hard and it was starting to show. So I ended up walking, like, instead of sitting here on the couch, which this is my couch now, but I was in his couch. We ended up changing that up. But ended up pacing back and forth, back and forth. And, we were talking just, about everything. And I was determined not to spend the night because I was like, no, because I'm in a new spot. I don't know you that well. I just know you from, coming in pig. I don't know about all that. And 5 o'clock turned to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock turned to 12 o'clock, and I was like, "Yep, okay, no." I really didn't want to go sleep back in my car, so I laid here on the couch and I went to sleep. Day two runs around, same thing, and little did I know personally that this was fixing to change everything. So one night turned to 2 nights. And the next thing I know, we start dating because everybody was trying to push it. They're like, oh, they're dating because she likes older men. All right, Ann, whose business is that? I'm 28 years old. I do whatever I want to do. But honestly, I call him Frankie. His real name's Johnny, but his family calls him Frankie, and his close friends call him Frankie. So if you hear me say that, that's the same person. But after me and him started dating, I was like, oh, it ain't gonna work out. Oh, he's just gonna be like everybody else. Oh, this is this, this is this, this is this. Like, it's just an A-B deal. So I was like, he's gonna get tired of me. Or he ain't gonna like how I live. Or he ain't gonna understand anything about how I am because every place I've lived at has had a problem with the way I live. Okay? And I'm not talking bad about nobody. I appreciate everything everybody has done. Every house I've lived at just led me to my forever home. Okay? And now I'm engaged to a wonderful man. And he just turned 65. And I love that man to death. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever tried to understand my mental breakdowns I have. I'm depressed and I cry over a drop of a pen, especially with me being so sick. All last year, after I quit working, all I did was lay on the couch and sleep because that's how exhausted my body was. That was how hard I was pushing myself and how much I was struggling mentally, emotionally, physically. And my my fiance, Frankie, was like, you know, we need to start taking you to the hospitals. We need to get answers. And I didn't want to go, but there was one night I woke up with a sharp pain in my stomach so bad I couldn't even walk. And I didn't know what was going on. So that's what started doctor's visits. It started out being, oh, you're just constipated. And that wasn't even the problem. And it was one doctor after another doctor after another doctor after another doctor, and still no answers. And now I constantly, I constantly throw up. I constantly just hurt, or I'm sick, or I'm just too weak to do anything. So I said, okay, enough's enough. I told him and my brother-in-law the other day, his older brother, I said, I want to stop. I want to give up. They said, look how far you've come, Shy. You're doing it. You're doing the thing. Don't give up yet. You will finally get answers sooner or later. And between not having no insurance, not having no money, not having no job, that was putting stress on me. Well, my therapist that I used to see growing up, I think the last time I'd seen him, I told him, I want to start writing songs. I want to start doing that. And maybe I can help other people. He said, Cheyenne, you have stories to tell. And that could genuinely help somebody else that's going through something similar as you are. And I was like, that's a valid point. And looking back on December 20th of 2024, when Jesus said my situation was about to change, I was like, okay. My situation changed dramatically because now I'm sitting here talking to y'all. I'm writing songs. I'm making money off my songs. It might not be a lot, but I'm making something. I'm writing them. I'm producing them. I'm publishing them. I'm bringing what I've told myself for years I was going to do. I said, I'm going to be a country singer. Okay, here we are. Don't mess this up. I mean, you don't have to have the fame, the fortune, the title, all that, as long as you do what you enjoy doing. And things like this has helped me so much. Because without Frankie, without Cliff, without his sister Jane, without their best friend Jenny, I would not be doing what I'm doing, because their support is what has helped me. Their support's what I haven't even had through most of my family. And that's fine, because I'm doing me now. I'm not sitting here at every beck and call. I'm doing what Cheyenne needs to do. Shy's doing what Shy needs to do. Because at the end of the day, my family members, they're doing what they do. I mean, and that's good. I don't cross their mind, or they don't cross my mind. Sometimes I wonder how they're doing, yeah. But for the family members that matter, they're going to like your comment. They're going to check in on you when they can. They're going to see if you're, they're going to see how you're doing. But they're not going to have to ask because you're sitting there posting about it. You're writing your songs about it. But the ones not ever going to talk to you, the ones who think you're the black sheep of the family, they're watching. It's great too. They're watching. But at the end of the day, let them watch, because you're doing you. You're helping others, and you're actually helping them, and they don't even realize it. They expect you to fall. They expect you to fail. But as long as you call on Jesus, what they think over there ain't going to matter. Not one tiny bit. But the second question of it was, what helps you rely on others? Which I've been sitting here talking about it, and I didn't even realize that was the second question. But it's them being close to you. It's realizing, okay, I need help and I need to figure it out. And there's no harm in asking for help, because without Cliff, without Frankie, without Jenny, without Jane, I wouldn't have what I have right now. And I put all my thanks in Frankie and in Jesus, because even Cliff, because they mean more to me. They're my family. My my puppy, my lizard, my dog, my horse. You know, that those are just animals. But to me, they're the reason I'm like, I can keep doing this. Because Princess she's constantly here. Like, I mean, just because they're animals don't mean they don't realize anything. Like, she's tired, y'all. But I got her back in July. I got Brooklyn back in July of 2023. Yeah. No, last year. No, 2024. But I got Tinkerbell in November of last year, the exact night before Thanksgiving. But just because she's a bearded dragon, they're like, oh, well, they're just reptiles. No, but they serve an actual purpose, because being able to do stuff with her, even if it's not much, just cleaning out her cage or holding her, or, spending time with Brooklyn, with Rowdy, my horse, things like that make me grateful and thank Jesus, that He gave me another chance to say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to let this mess with me. I'm not going to give up. I mean, it used to get so bad that I would cut myself. And that's not good, and I just wanted to give up. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to do all that, but I just I wanted to give up, because there are times I don't see the end of the road. And that's what my music's about, me suffering from stuff like that. And at the end of the day, thank the good Lord, that I'm able to sit here and talk about it. And it, my Frankie actually told me the other day, he said, I see a change in you. I said, what you mean? He said, ever since you started writing and singing, it has helped your depression so much. And I started thinking, I said, you're right. You're right. It's not about going to work every day, working a 9 to 5 job, or in my case, like a 40-hour-a-week job, sometimes more than that. It's about doing stuff you genuinely enjoy. Like, I enjoyed working. I enjoyed being an assistant manager. But what I enjoyed more is being able to write my story on a piece of paper and share it with y'all. And then this is just a bonus, just being able to talk about Jesus and getting closer with Him. I might not do it every day, but, once a week, pray every day. Talk to Jesus every day. Just say, hey, look, I need your help. That's all you got to do. It is not hard. But with that being said, I'm going to end this with this prayer. It says, Dear God, please help me to rely daily on your Spirit to unite and guide me in how to share life together. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And I'm going to end it here. But, like I said, if you are struggling, if you need help, feel free to talk to somebody. You can always message me or comment on my stuff. You can follow me on Facebook if you want to, or Instagram, TikTok, anything. And I'm there. We might not know each other, but there's one thing I learned the other day. I posted a song that is the hardest song I've ever shared, which is coming out February 24th on what would have been my daddy's 86th birthday. And it's called Through the Years, and it's about my whole life story, just about it. About me being bullied throughout the years, and what my biological mother had told me throughout the years, and still continues to tell me when she actually talks to me. But honestly, I just feel like, I'm sharing this for people that genuinely need it. And I shared it one day on TikTok, to be exact, and a person came up and he told me, he said, he commented on it. He said, "Thank you for sharing that, because I relate to that." And I told him, I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you do, but I'm grateful that you came and told me, about it. But that's what I do it for. But it don't make it hurt any less. It makes me hurt for them because they know what I've been through. Y'all know what I've been through because I'm sharing it." But with that being said, stay tuned, and as in for all my music, you can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and a lot of other places. But with that being said, I'm going to end it for this week, and I hope y'all have a happy Valentine's Day. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all next Wednesday. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.